Okay, so this customer asked, is it okay to use a acid product and retinol in the same night, or is it counteractive?
You know, it's interesting because I use a AHA in the day and I use a retinol at night. There are some products that, again, it's about chemistry. There are some that are designed where it works. You can use in your nighttime regimen, you can use something that's an AHA and something that has retinol in the same product. But it depends, again, on the chemistry. You know, it just depends. I was under the impression, or for the longest time, that no, you can't, because one will wipe the other out, and you're not going to have the benefits of either one. But now I also understand that a chemistry, you know, they've been able to master it where it doesn't white it out. So I think it really depends on the brand. You know, the products that I personally use, they're not combined, and I prefer to use my AHAs in the morning and my retinols at night. But I believe that it is possible to be able to do them in the same. Yep.
And that's a good point too. That formula really is where it's at in terms of knowing. Because it's really hard, you know, you can ask about a lactic acid product, but there can be a different pH, it can be, you know, with X, Y, and Z and a different formula, and it just, so it's not a very easy blanket thing to say, but...
And the pH of, you know, as I said to you earlier, but because it wasn't on video, I'll, you know, say it again to you, is that when, you know, a lot of estes, because that's a lot of my fans, as I'm sure it is yours, a lot of people, they ask, you know, what is the pH of an AHA? Sorry, what is the percentage of an AHA? Or even of a retinol, you know, they're asking, or vitamin C, you know, they're asking what is the percentage? And, you know, what's important to understand is the percentage doesn't mean a lot if you don't know your pH of the product. So you can have a vitamin C, for instance, that is derived from the ascorbic side of vitamin C, and then you've got your vitamin C that is your magnesium side of your vitamin C, which you're not going to have the same irritation as you would with your ascorbic side. So, you know, when some people say, well, I'm really sensitive to vitamin C, well, you might be sensitive to that, but you're not going to be sensitive to that. And it's the same with AHAs. It's you know, I work with a pH product in my treatment room that is a little bit lower, a 2.5 to a 2.8, which is a little bit lower, we'll say, to a Dr. Murad's, because he's a 3.0, and most people know Murad, the product line. And that makes a difference, because your pH will change the percentage of your AHA in this case. And it also will change whether, you know, if it is in a liquid form, if it's in a gel form or a cream form. Again, it's all going to change the strength of it. So, you know, when people look at an AHA, it's important for the consumer. It's basically going to be in a gel or a cream form. For the wholesaler, the estes like, you know, you and I, then your pH is really important. So know your pH, because if you go below 3.0, then it's going to be a stronger product, and you have to be more careful. Yeah.
Very true. Love it. Okay, next question. So this one is good and can be personal, but it's about Botox. And this person asked, what type have you used and liked? How long does it last? How often do you have to get it touched up? And how old were you when you started?
I was 48 when I started. I think 48. Maybe I was 46. Either 46 or 48. And I'm almost 57 now. So this is how long I've been doing it. I have Botox done about probably 3 times a year. I'm doing it about every 4 months. And I do it only between my brows. The couple of times I've said to the fabulous doctor that I work with, you know, give me that lift, that Jack Nicholson lift. And a couple of times I've had it done where I found I didn't like where my brows were. They were a little bit too high. So I found I had to change where I put my pencil on to fill in my brows. So I just have it done here. I don't do it anywhere else on my face. I think that I am a believer in everything in moderation.
Okay.
And there is, just support, there's 2 types of Botox to my understanding. I know within the next 3 years it will be in a cream form. It will be different. Yes, they are coming out with a lot of new things with Botox. And there is some in cream forms now, but I mean the real deal in a cream is not too far away, maybe 3 or 4 years. I think that Botox, it works.
Yeah.
It just does. It works obviously for people that also suffer with headaches and things, but it doesn't allow you to have that expression line and to keep it, getting it deeper, because it just lightens it up. But I will say, again, there's a price you pay with everything. So once you start doing Botox here and you smile, wrinkles have got to come somewhere, so people will notice them in other places. So, there's something very typically that happens when people start doing Botox on the sides out here by their eyes, is they start to get those little bunny wrinkles by the nose. And people that are doing it on their throat sometimes have difficulty swallowing. There is, you have to be really careful. And of course, I see a facial plastic surgeon who does my Botox. I would prefer that, because I know he knows the face really well. And there's a price you pay, and you have to be careful. I mean, with everything, with all fillers and things, it's, as a doctor that I work with, he always says, I'm Dr. Joseph, I'm not Dr. Jesus. So it's just, there's always, there's things that can happen, and it's just the way it is. So don't take anything for granted, we have to really, and there's a price you pay for stuff.
And like anything too, and this might be a very obvious comment, but I think maybe it's not, is that you can start with X number of units, a very small amount of units, and then if you want more, you go back in 2 weeks and get more, instead of going right out of the gate with 50 units and it's just too much and you're not happy with it. But it's the same thing with hair that I always laugh at when people say they want like this much taken off, and then they're upset. Like you could do a little bit and go back and get more.
That's right, absolutely.
Can't really go the other way.
Yes, exactly.
So if you're curious, you can tip your toe into
just
the
do
water.
a little bit. I'm fortunate that the doctor, I think if there are doctors that you go to that will they will automatically do just a little bit, and they know that this should be right for you. But I think that some people, depending on your personality, there are a lot of people that go in and just sort of say, I don't want wrinkles, just get rid of them. Just Botox, do as much as you can. And there are some doctors or nurses and people that will do that. Yeah. But I think, you, as I said, if you take wrinkles away, or you paralyze the muscle in certain places, when you smile, there is going to be wrinkles that have got to come up somewhere. You do have that expression's going to move somewhere. I used to have a client, and she was 26 years old, and she was an actress, still is an actress. She started doing Botox around her mouth, and I'll never forget when I saw her on a billboard one day, and I just saw these teeth. And it was so disturbing because it changed her whole smile. And I just thought, oh no, it's not, it's not all great. You have to be careful. I think people they get a little bit carried away. So I say sometimes you got to check yourself and just say, hold on a second. Let me just make sure I'm doing everything that I should be doing, and I'm not going overboard with stuff. Because there's, that stillness of where there's nothing left isn't so pretty either.
No, exactly.
So, yes,
and ain't
but
that the truth? Yeah.
That's right, what you said. You can always start smaller, and you can have more done if you like. Yeah.
And that was just how. So I get it done through my forehead. I just started basically exactly a year ago almost. So I started when I was 15. But I've been doing it for a year. I get very little at a time, and that's how it started. I also go to a plastic surgeon for it, and she was wonderful. We started very, very small. She had me come back in 2 weeks. If I wanted more, we were going to get more, and I didn't want more, and I was happy I didn't get more to begin with, because it would have, Yes. So, but find somebody who will also do that for you, and who isn't aggressively going to go in. And,
exactly. Yes.
I like this one because I just got off of a flight, except my flight was not this long. But what are must-have skincare products for a long-haul flight? and they said 16-hour flight.
You know, I have clients that come in to have a facial just before they're catching a flight, because they want to be left with the mask that is not going to dry, the mask that's going to stay on their skin and just leave that film for them to last them, because, you know, it really does help. So I think I like hydrating masks for flights. And I know there is some, you know, some of the spritzes, the hydration spritzes, and in fact I think you have a very good one. I've heard too from clients. So I think that the hydration spritzes are, you know, all of that helps for sure. But the hydrating masks are really nice too. Yeah.
I agree. Something I was going to say about spritzes though, because I do have, and I've mentioned this before, what people shouldn't, they really should use a humectant rich mist. Otherwise the water is just going to, in my opinion, evaporate off the skin and create further dehydration. And my mist happens to be formulated that way. But it's true, like my mist has hyaluronic acid and red seaweed and glycerin and, you know, cucumber and tamarind and things that are going to pull water into the skin. So we'll work with a hydrating mask. But thermal waters and things which might feel nice, you know, to like cleanse your face with isn't ideal. For planes.
Yes, that's right.
But no, I agree. I feel the same way. Like I know a lot of people want to do like a very extensive regimen on flights, but
no,
for me,
it's not. I mean, you know, it's just not hygienic.
Right.
And I mean, what are you going to do? Do it in that tiny cubicle
I know.
bathroom?
Well, I
it's
know.
like it's
I
so.
know.
You know, I'm one who doesn't like to, you know, touch my face throughout the day anyway. Once I put my makeup on and I've done my regimen, I'm not touching my face.
Right.
And I don't think that other people should be during the day either. I think you prep your skin up in the morning or prior to getting on the flight, and then that's it. And other than that, you're using a spritzer is fine. But like you said, one that has hyaluronic acid, that's a moisture binder and things that is going to really draw moisture to the skin. Because a lot of, I mean, that doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
Either. A lot of just
it might feel nice, but
that's right. Yeah, I mean, they're cooling, but no, you need the Jordan Samuel skin.
That's right. Okay. I like this one. We're back on acids. We're back on acid. I mean, that sounds great. This person said, so I have 2 separate acids, lactic and glycolic. How often can I use them? Which I know that might be a little, because we don't know the product or the formula or the anything. And then, but I think the main question here is, she said, can you overtreat skin with acid?
Yes, you can. So, I mean, you should be able to use an AHA every day. You know, and you could use it twice a day if it's the right one for you. But again, it depends on the brand, the pH of the brand, what they're using. It depends on, is it in a liquid form, a gel form, or a cream form? Because sometimes if I've got an AHA in a gel form, it is going to be a serum with a cream going over top of it. Or vice versa, you know, you're going to, you know, it's going to be in a cream form with a different type of serum underneath it. But generally, I believe in layering the skin. So if your AHA is in a cream form, you should pretty much be able to use it without anything on underneath it. If you have to use a serum underneath it, then that's okay, but just make sure your serum also doesn't have an acid in it. And, you know, maybe it's a hyaluronic acid serum, or maybe it's a vitamin C serum, or something different, you know. And but you can absolutely use too much, and it will create bumpiness and irritation. But your acids are important. That, you know, your lactic and your glycolic are the 2 more popular ones for a reason, because your, you know, tartaric, malic, and citrus. Well, the tartaric and malic are not going to do an abundance on their own, but the citrus can be it's a large molecule, and it can be very irritating. So, you know, maybe a lot of the cheaper brands tend to work with the citrus molecule over a lactic or a glycolic molecule. So she uses the lactic and the glycolic, then they are the better molecules, and that they also go deeper, they're better for the skin. Then she should be able to use them every day. And if she can't, she might need to layer it and put a serum on first, or if it is a serum, then she would need to use a moisturizer over top of it.
Love. So this fan wanted to know if you could share some tips on how to effectively balance overly oily skin without drying out the skin barrier. key ingredients to look for and products to avoid. And I know we sort of have talked about that a little bit today, but more specifically
I think an oily skin to not over dry. I am a huge fan of hyaluronic acid for oily skin. People, to understand that there's certain kinds of alcohols in products that don't dry the skin. Everything has a purpose, and then there's its derivatives, and things just change so much. Hyaluronic acid is extraordinary, and it's extraordinary because it is a moisture binder in how it holds moisture around the cell and protects the cell. But more importantly, for an oily skin, it's healing. It doesn't overnourish. When you're an oily skin, you can't feed it nourishment. You can't nourish it with a bunch of heavy, large molecule, ingredients. You just can't do that. But ingredients for an oily skin are healing. So everyone should use a moisturizer, but it has to be healing. And hyaluronic acid is healing. It's very, very healing. It doesn't have to be thick and goopy. It can be light and healing and hydrating. So I always say, an oily skin, you hydrate an oily skin, like you hydrate a body. But you don't have to, it doesn't need the same nourishment that a drier skin will need. So hyaluronic acid would probably be one of my favorites. And it's also, again, it's AHAs and retinols because they work on wrinkles, they work on a dry skin, but they also work with oily skin. And when you've got an oily skin, your pore just isn't at the very surface. Everything that you work with pimples, even whether they're nodules, pustules, or papules, if it's coming from deep within, you need products that have ingredients that go deep within, because you need to heal it so you're not going to be left with a scar. So I think that you have to work with active ingredients, so retinols and AHAs are really important. And hyaluronic acid to me is just an easy no-brainer have to do. There are your peptides, which are your bodybuilders, your oligomeric and your pentapeptides. There's a lot of different kinds of ingredients that are all very beneficial, but AHAs and retinols do all of them. There is nothing else needed. Hyaluronic acid offers something that is, but not everyone can use AHAs and not everyone can use retinols. Hyaluronic acid, it's light, it hydrates, and it works. That's it. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Sorry, I lied. There is one more because I just remembered, and we talked about it earlier. It can be a very personal thing, but just to finish, this wonderful client said facial hair removal. I have a couple of patches where it is thick and wiry. Is there a permanent removal option? Basically, at the moment, I'm shaving, which causes irritation, so I want to avoid this. She bought a device, which isn't great. She would appreciate any advice because her skin looks amazing when she doesn't shave, but then the hair's there and it's just too much for her.
Yeah, I mean, if it's wiry, which you mentioned wiry, then I would probably say try laser hair removal because it, even when you shave your face, whether you're using the modern face, dermaplanings, it's still, the hair's still there, you're shaving the face, right? So, although a lot of people really love working with those devices and how they make the skin feel, I know that for me personally, I would prefer to have the hair gone, okay? And that is gone from the root. If it's a small area and she could find a good electrologist, that could work. It depends if the hair's virgin hair or not. It probably is not because she's tried different things. So that can take some time, that can take years still to go. Waxing can be aggressive on the skin and it pulls the skin. It's not great for a lot of people. So I would say try the laser hair removal. That's what I personally would do first, and or look for an electrologist. If it's kind of wiry, that's the route I would go. If it was a softer, fluffy, finer hair, then, and she wanted to use, a device for just removing it, and she didn't mind that, you know, there are very nice Dermaflash sold at Sephora. You know, know the lady who developed a beautiful device. I mean, that's a really nice device to use if you like to do that, and a lot of people do. But if, you know, if there's areas of patchy areas, I would personally want it gone myself, and I would go the more permanent way to do that. Yeah, that's what I would do.
I mean, I can't speak to that because, but I heard other places. I know I know sometimes it is just easier to get it. I mean, but to each their own.
Yes, that's
obviously.
Right. Yes.
But no, permanent instead of doing something over and over again, which can create irritation too, which is
yes,
fun.
Absolutely.
But Nerida, thank you so
I'm so happy
much.
that you came here to see me.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
And mind you, she's doing this on a Sunday.
Yes, I was working this morning. We're getting ready for the awards, and it's busy. So yeah. But I'm so happy too. I'm happy that you came here.
Thank you. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching. And thank you again, Nerida. And I'll see you next time.
It's my pleasure.
Bye. Hi everyone. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking the black JS circle down below so we can stay in contact and keep talking. To watch more videos, you can click on the link here, or possibly here. Thanks for watching. Bye.